Is it ADHD or is it normal childhood behavior? This is Donna Kay here, and I am coming live. I am trying a new platform, so you need to bear with me. I need to make sure that I am coming through and you can hear me. So if you can hear me, if you can see me, please give me a wave in the chat. Say hello, where you're tuning in from, because I am trying to, I can see Sherry Lynn and Jess have joined. Just give me a wave in the chat because this is a new platform for me. So I want to make sure that it is coming through okay. Now, I am here on a Friday evening, not a normal time that I come in, but I'm excited about it. I'm here to talk about something that I love this conversation. I can see that Jess is from Palm Springs. Hi, Jess. Hi, Tim, Kathy. It's hard to know everyone's name because you know, the Instagram handles, they're a little bit hard to know what your real name is. But thank you for tuning in. I can see Mind Momentum Mums have joined. Guys, there's lots of you joining. I'm super excited. I'm here to talk about, is it ADHD or is it normal childhood behavior? You know, sometimes what looks like ADHD is actually normal, developmentally appropriate. Now, other times it is the body crying out for help. Okay, you know, and so we're here to talk about the difference. I can see on Terry from Ontario. Hi, thanks for tuning in. I'm super excited for you to be here. Now, my name's Donna Kay. I'm a board-certified health and nutrition practitioner and the founder of the ADHD Thrive Institute. And I'm here each and every week with a new live training, helping parents across the country support their child with ADHD naturally. Now, in today's live, I want to help answer a question that keeps so many parents up at night. Is this normal behavior, or is there something deeper going on? Because not every big reaction means your child has ADHD, but also not every intense behavior is something they'll just sort of grow out of. So how do you tell the difference? That's what we're going to answer today. Stick with me. I'll walk you through everything. I wish I had known when I was in your shoes, raising a sensitive and intense, beautiful child in a world that doesn't always understand what they need. Now, before we get started, I want to hear from you guys, and I'm turning this way because the chat is over here, and as I said, I'm using a new platform, so I'm just trying to get used to it. I want to hear from you. Have you ever wondered or found yourself wondering if your child's behavior is just a phase or something more? You know, what made you start asking the question? Tell me in the comments, guys, because I think it really, really helps people understand that they're not alone, you know? Okay, well, let's get into it. I'm going to keep looking over to see because I think there's a bit of a delay in the chat. So how can you determine if your child's behavior is normal or ADHD? Let me start by saying this. Kids are messy. They forget things. They interrupt. They roll their eyes. Yes, my children roll their eyes. My 16-year-old just rolled his eyes at me just before I jumped on here. They get obsessed with Minecraft. They make weird noises, and sometimes they melt down over the wrong socks. You know, that's developmentally appropriate, especially in elementary school and especially in early teen years. The brain is still under construction. You know, the prefrontal cortex, the part that's responsible for focus and impulse control and emotional regulation, isn't fully developed until around the age of 22 to 25. Can you believe it? So yes, your 7-year-old might cry because their sandwich was cut the wrong way, okay? That's normal. Your 12-year-old might talk nonstop and forget their lunch 3 days in a row. And your 15-year-old might have a strong emotional reaction when they're overwhelmed. Those things can all be totally normal. But there's a difference between normal behavior and a pattern that may point to something deeper like ADHD. You know, I like to explain it this way. Normal is occasional forgetfulness. Concerning is never remembering basic instructions, even with support. Normal is emotional outbursts during, say, stress or transitions. Concerning is daily meltdowns or meltdowns multiple times a day over just the smallest changes. Normal is fidgeting or talking in class. Concerning is chronic disruption or inability to complete tasks or focus, even when they have the structure and the support around them. We have to not just look for perfection, it's about patterns. It's about frequency, it's about intensity, and whether the behavior is interfering with your child's ability to thrive at home, in school, and in relationships. Hope this is making sense so far, guys. Let me know in the comments if it is or not. Just give me a yes if it's clear, or feel free to ask any questions. I am here live, but as I said earlier, I'm trying a new platform, so bear with me if I get it wrong, if I miss your question. Now, maybe you're thinking, I still don't know, is this ADHD or is this just a phase? Yes, thank you for sharing, Kendra. It can be so confusing, but I want to say this clearly. You are your child's best expert. You know your child better than anyone else, better than a teacher, better than a doctor, or even a well-meaning relative with lots of opinions. So when your intuition or your gut feeling is telling you that something feels off, trust that. You might not know exactly what that is yet, but your awareness is already pointing you in the right direction. Now, if you're unsure, I do have a few questions that I think would really help. So grab a pen and grab a paper. Instead of, jumping straight to, and this is what we do as a society, we jump straight to, oh, is this ADHD? Try instead, first of all, track patterns, okay? Not isolated events. One bad day or one bad week doesn't mean something's wrong, but consistent dysregulation every single day, or forgetfulness every single day, or meltdowns multiple times a day over time, that points to something deeper. Secondly, as I said earlier, trust your gut. Your observations matter, even if others are brushing them off. Now, number 3, focus on healing the body from the inside out, really getting to what could be exacerbating those symptoms rather than just putting a Band-Aid on symptoms or managing the symptoms. When we support the gut-brain connection, when we calm the nervous system and we reduce internal stresses, behaviors often shift on its own. Too often in traditional care, the focus is on managing those symptoms so we can get through them. But I believe there's a so much better way. Inside my program, which is called the ADHD Thrive Method for Kids, if you're not aware, we help families really heal the body from the inside out so symptoms don't just get masked or a Band-Aid put on them. They actually start to reduce naturally. Okay, number 4, let kids be imperfect. Remember, even neurotypical kids lie, even neurotypical kids melt down and argue. Yeah, I can tell you that for sure. I've got 2 boys turning 16 next week and turning 12 next week as well. So, they're still growing. So are we as adults. Everyone's allowed to have off days. And just because a child is struggling doesn't necessarily mean they have ADHD. Sometimes what might look like ADHD is not necessarily ADHD. Sometimes what might look like, an ADHD type of behavior is actually developmentally appropriate. I want to talk about boys because I've got 2 of them. Normal kindergartner behavior in boys often includes rough play, high energy, climbing, making noises, sensory seeking, and yet these behaviors are often labeled as disruptive or problematic. But many of these behaviors reflect actually like unmet needs, not defiance, or not just them being difficult. Understanding how boys develop, how their brains and bodies process the world, helps us respond with support and not just punishment or not just labeling. And especially hard for us women, for those mums out there listening. We grew up as girls, and so we weren't doing that rough play, and so it's even harder for us to understand. Now, here's one more key tip, and it's a big one. I want you guys to write it down, okay? look at the body, not just the behavior. So instead of focusing so much on whether or not something is normal, ask yourself instead, what is my child's body trying to tell me? Behavior and symptoms are communication, and in many cases, it's the body sending stress signals or signals of stress. So I like to shift our focus to what might be going on underneath the surface. Ask yourself the following questions. Is your child sleeping well? Do they have any gut issues or food sensitivities? Are they eating foods that cause inflammation? Could they be suffering from, low nutrients in their body that really support mood and focus? Do they have detox issues? Things like that. Now, if you're ready to take the first step in understanding what your child's body might be trying to tell you, I've actually created an amazing free resource. It's like nothing that I've shared before. It's not just, a PDF guide that you're going to download. It's actually called the Biology Beneath Behaviors Flip Guide, and it breaks down the most common biological stresses that drive ADHD symptoms, like those emotional outbursts, poor focus, meltdowns. All you need to do, guys, is drop the word biology, BIOLOGY, right here on this live training. Whether you're watching the live or the replay, I'm going to post this to my feed afterwards. You can just drop the word biology, and I will send it to you over in PM, which is amazing. It's so easy. Again, that's the word biology. Or if you're ready to, find deeper answers for your child, you can totally schedule a free ADHD Thrive Breakthrough Call with my team. We'll talk about what you're seeing in your child, whether there could be something underlying biologically, whether functional lab testing might be the next best step. If you would like a link to schedule that call, you can just comment call. So either comment call and biology, or call or biology, and we will pop those over to you in PM, either on the live or the replay. Now, let's talk about something parents don't talk about enough. This is something a bit different. What happens when things get better, when your child's symptoms actually start to reduce, but your nervous system doesn't? Okay. One mum said to me a couple of weeks ago that when the school stopped calling her about her child's behavior, she actually panicked. She said when the phone stopped ringing, her nervous system didn't know what to do, and she had a panic attack. Not because anything was wrong, but because for once, everything was right. And that really hit me hard, because I've lived this too. That silence used to feel, I don't know, kind of like suspicious. And when things started improving, even one meltdown would send me spiraling and asking, oh my gosh, is this a setback? Is the protocol not working? What if it's all unraveling? If you've been there, I just want you to know you're not alone. When you've lived in sort of that survival mode for so many years, that feeling of calm can feel really scary. And healing has to happen for us as well, not just for our kids. Remember, when you're going through this process, you're helping the body from the inside out. That process isn't linear. It's messy. Progress often looks like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and that's okay. Maybe your child used to have 6 meltdowns a week, but now they're only having 1. That's huge. That's a win. But it's also hard, because that 1 meltdown feels so much more intense when peace becomes your new normal. This is where we want to ask better questions. We need to really sit down and think about each one of these. Is this still happening every day? Was the intensity lower? Did my child recover more quickly? Could this be tied to a trigger, like, do they have a bad night's sleep, or are they having a food reaction? Progress does not mean 0 symptoms. It means fewer, gentler, and more manageable moments. So the next time your child throws a shoe or refuses breakfast because, the strawberries feel wrong, just pause before labeling it. Before worrying about if it's normal or if it's ADHD. Instead, get curious, zoom out, look for those patterns that we've discussed today, because progress doesn't always look like a straight line, but it always leaves a clue. And your child is still growing, they're still healing, they're still becoming who they're meant to be. And we have to let them be human. Let yourself be human. I know you guys have got this, and I've totally got your back. If you want that free flip guide, you can just drop the word biology. Or if you want a link to book a free call with my team to discuss what could be going on for your child, just drop the word call in the comments now. If this training gave you clarity or reassurance, I would love for you to share it with another parent who might need it as well. Make sure and check back in the next week for another live training. But that's it for today, guys. Thanks for being here with me. I'll see you soon. Have a great evening and a great weekend.